Welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create your first Django project. So if you're not currently subscribed to this channel, I implore you to do that right now, because you're going to be learning a whole bunch of stuff on this channel. So without wasting your time, let's go straight to the business. So basically, if you want to install, the first thing you do when you're about to start most project in Python is to create your virtual environment. It's not a big deal. That can be done in less than 3 minutes. So what you want to do, this just helps you to separate your folders from other projects. So Python knows exactly what to be dealing with when you call this script. So basically, the first thing you want to do to create your virtual environment is going to be python-m. Then you call the library that handles the virtual environment, and then you can give it any name that you want. So you're just gonna say, for this training, I'm just gonna call it test_VNV. You can call it whatever you want. Then I'm gonna press enter, and as you can see, okay, as you can see, the virtual environment has been created. If you click on it, you're just going to see this bunch of folders, libraries, include, and scripts. You see, this script is very important. That is what you're going to be using to activate your virtual environment. So I'm going to be going back to the terminal to activate my virtual environment that I just created. So I'm just, to do that, you're just going to say the name of your virtual environment that you just created, /script that you just saw. As you can see, it is script. It ends with an S, so make sure you use it that way, and then /activate. Okay, and then you're gonna press enter, and as you can see, the terminal has changed to with the prefix of test_VNV, which is the name of your virtual environment. So this indicates that you have already activated your virtual environment. Then you can proceed to do whatever you want in Python right now. So now I'm going to proceed to install Django. So I'm just going to install stuff in Python. You're just going to use a pip. So I'm just going to say pip install Django. Okay, I'm going to reduce my screen so that you see what I'm doing. So as you can see, pip install Django, and I'm going to press enter. And this is going to take a while, because Django is a very huge, fat main framework, and because it does most of the jobs in building your applications, it makes your application, ready out of the box. Your client needs something, it just tell you Django is your best bet because it has a front end, where you can use Ginger templates, and then it has a very robust back end, where you can do most of the things. Now, as you can see, my Django is installed right now, but if you look at this side, nothing has shown. There's nothing to show, but it's telling you right now that it has been installed. So the first thing you want to do after installing your Django project, after installing your Django framework, let me increase my screen. The first thing you want to do, I'm gonna reduce my screen. The first thing you want to do after installing your Django framework is to start a project. So I'm just gonna say Django-admin start project. Okay, then you can call your project any name. For the case of this training, I'm just gonna say test project. Okay, so I'm just gonna call this project text project. So I'm just gonna say enter. Okay, as you can see, Django has created a project folder for me. So you would notice something, that Django repeats the name of the project. So it's like you're having two folders together, one folder nested into another folder. So that's basically how Django works. It creates a parent folder for the project using the same name, and then it now creates a folder for the project itself nested inside the main folder. So this main folder will contain all other apps that comes with the project. So as you can see, inside this main project, you have nested text project, which is the same name, which is understandable. So now this is how basically Django works. The project is actually the parent. You see the project as parent, okay? Then every other thing that comes after, you can only create project once. inside the project is where you have your apps. Okay, so for instance, now let's say you want to make a calculator. That is an app inside the project. And now you want to make a user authentication. That is going to be an app inside the project. You want to make a scraper that, that scrapes prices from, let's say, CoinMarketCap. That is going to be an app inside the project. So all your apps are going to be like children inside your project. Okay, so children are going to be project versus children, and all your app will be like children inside your project. So I'm going to clean this. I'm just writing that just to show you how it works. So now we want to create our first app. So one thing you should notice is that immediately you start your project, you created your project, immediately you create your project in Django, your command for Python, Python is going to change, because you're not going to be talking to Python directly anymore. Now you have your Django project set up. Now you should be speaking the language of Django, no longer Python. Okay, once you have your Django project set up, you have to switch to the language of Django, no more Python. Okay, so basically you're just going to say, to create your first app in Django, you're just going to say python manage.py. This is the language of Django right now. Okay, python manage.py. And if you look inside this project, you're just gonna see what you're calling. This is what you're calling manage.py. This is a badass script inside the project folder that does everything. So you're calling that script right there, python manage.py start app. You're not gonna say start project anymore. It's just gonna be start app. Okay, so then you're gonna give your app any name. So in this case, I can just say test app. Okay, I'm just gonna call this test app, and I'm gonna press enter. Oh, let's say I have a problem. No such file. Okay, so I'm just gonna say python manage. Okay, I know what I'm phrasing. Okay, so when I've actually forgot a very vital thing. Take note of this. Once you create your project, you have to cd into that project, because I'm trying to use this script right here now inside the project, but I'm not even right inside the parent folder. So I need to cd into the parent folder. Okay, which is going to be test_project. Okay, now I'm in the parent folder now, which is the main folder that will contain everything, both project and app. Now I'm in the folder right now. Then I can begin to access what manage.py can actually do for me inside this place. Okay, so then I can then say python. I can't even type. Python manage.py start app. I hope I got that right. Start app. Then the name of your app. So I'm gonna call this app test app. Then I'm gonna say enter. Okay. Now if we go inside this the parent folder of the project, you're gonna see my app has started right now. Okay. So if you look inside my app, I have a whole bunch of stuff inside it. I have my views, I have my tags, I have my molders. So basically, just like in your normal, if you're working with MVC, like Node.js, you have your views, you have your tags, you have your molders. This is for database. Not too complicated. It's just basic stuff. Now you've created your first app with Django. So basically, let's just see how we can start our project. So if you come to this, if you want to start your project in Django, you're just gonna say python manage.py run server. But there's no server to run right now because I've not even set up anything. So the basic thing that you want to do inside, just to test this project out, is that you want to go into your app that you just created. Okay, whenever you create an app in Django, the next stage that you want to do before you even start anything is that, because one thing you will notice in Django is that all those things, all those components, they actually work independently. So if you do not tell one project about the other project, they don't know nothing about it. So now you just created a test app inside this project, but this project, your Django project, does not know about this test app. It does not know that it exists. So first thing you want to know, and if you say the project is the parent, and all apps are the children of the parent, so why don't you now think that every child should be able to tell their parent that they exist? So if your parent does not know that you exist, then what are you doing? Nothing is going to work. So you want to go inside the project folder, and then you want to go to settings, okay, and then you want to see, look like installed apps. Now you want to go down to installed apps, and then you want to tell the project that, okay, add this to your installed app, because I just created test app. And then you're gonna press Ctrl S, enter, which is gonna tell right now I have saved my new app inside my project. So now the parent knows about the new child right now. Okay, and that's basically what you need to do for now. So what else you need to do? You go into the app that you just created to set up the views. At least you don't have any view right now. View is what people will see when they go to the endpoint that you have created. So you want to go inside the views, and then you want to say something, just the basic Python function. So you're just going to say dev my first view. This is just basic way to write a function, but in this case I don't want to do much. I just want to use the Python HTTP response. So I'm just going to say from Django.http import HTTP response. I just want to use this to send a message to the front end, so that they can see whatever I'm doing. So I'm just going to put request in here. So I'm just going to say down. So I'm going to say return. I'm not going to do anything much, just going to return something. So I'm just going to say return. I want this response to be an HTTP response. And then I'm just going to say I have now. Okay, I can make this bigger actually, This can go down a little bit. And then I just want this to return. I have now set up my first Django app. Okay, so this is basically what this is gonna return to the user when they view our project. So I'm just gonna save this, and then I'm going to now I've set up my view. So when you set up your view, because this is basically what you want to be sending to, view simply means the front page, the front end where you want what your user to be seeing rather. So this is basically what I want my user to see when they come. I want them to see I have now set up my first Django app. But where exactly do you want your user to go to see this? And that is why you need to set up your URL. So you would notice that by default, when you create an app in Django, it does not create a URL for you to set up your APIs. So basically you need to do that yourself. So you click on the app folder, and then you create a new file. Call the file urls.py. Basically everything in Python has to end with py. So that's just to let the machine know that you're basically creating a Python script. So this is going to be urls.py. So what is going to be inside your urls.py? Because you're new, you don't really know much. All you have to do is just go to the text project, which is the mother parent project and parent folder. Look for what urls.py looks like. As you can see, this is basically what a url.py looks like in Django. It's going to tell you about some things, blah 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 blah. You can clean up this whole thing. I already know about all this, but this is basically what your urls.py looks like in Django. So what you want to do is copy all this, okay, and then go to your test app, and then go to the URLs, and then you can paste it there. You know, since you probably don't know the heck of what you're doing right now, so just copy it from the parent and then put it back into the child, which is the app. So what you want to do is that you do not need this. Admin would only be inside the project folder. Okay, so you don't need the admin, but you need a path actually. So you just get from django.urls import path, which just makes sense. So you're just going to basically inside your URLs pattern, you don't need admin. In fact, as a matter of fact, clear everything here, because you just took off your admin stuff and you don't need it. So to set up a path for the views that you have just created in your app, this is the name of the function that you use to create your view is called my first view. So now you go back to your URLs py. This path inside the urls.py takes 3 arguments. Okay, the first one is the URL that you want people to see, to check, just like your API. This is basically where you're setting up your API. So this is just gonna be inside a string. So let's say you want this to be login. It's gonna be login slash. Okay, so what you have right here is now that so for instance, now if the name of your site is www.test.com. so what there is going to be, to access this API, they're going to be slash login. Okay, so if you create another API that says let's say user, this is gonna be slash user. Okay, so that's basically how it works. So I'm just gonna clean this up. This is just an example. So it's like I said, this is gonna take 3 arguments. The first argument is the API or the URL, the endpoint that you want them to actually visit. So comma, make sure you use that comma. And then the next one is to get it from the views. You refer your views, but right now you don't have views right here. So the second thing that you want to import is just going to be from dot. Dot means is in the same folder. You don't want it to go elsewhere. So from dot import views. Okay, as you can see, I'm saying that go inside the same folder that we have right now and import views for me. As you can see, this is the same folder that we have, and then we have our views right here. So this is basically what I'm importing now. So I'm just gonna now say views dot whatever I have created, which is gonna be my first view. That's the name that I've called my view. Then I'm going to say comma, and the last argument is going to be the name, whatever name that you want to call your whatever your project, which is going to be the name is going to be you can call it so you can call the name, let's just say this shouldn't be user. We don't have anything to do with user actually. I'm sorry about that. So we can just do is that let's just leave it blank. So what that means is that if the name of our website is www.test.com, they only need to visit the site www.test.com to see our views right here. Since I'm not adding anything. If I had something now, that's when they will need to do slash app on at the back. But since I didn't add anything, so they don't need to add anything. It's just whatever they visit. So I want this one to be like our index page, that the first person that lands on our landing page is gonna see whatever is in this view. So I can call this name anything actually. There's no or whatever spelled out something there. So I can just call it the name of the view, which is gonna be my first view. Okay, as you can see, this thing goes inside the screen. Okay, now as you can see, I've filled up my 3 arguments inside. You always know that it's going to take 3 arguments. The first one is your URL, and the second one is going to be your views, whatever your view is, and then the name of the view. Then I can save. Yeah, so with this, I believe I am ready. I think my app is ready right now. Let me see what is I need to. Yeah, I think everything is fine right now. So I can then go to, so I'm gonna clear this terminal. Oh my god. I'm gonna clear this terminal. I'm gonna reduce the screen size. Then I'm gonna go to start my project and just see what's going on. So I'm just gonna say python manage.py run server. Okay, I'm just gonna press enter like that. I can make this bigger actually. So as you can see, my server is running. So it's right here, it's telling me about some migrations, but that is gonna happen when you want to set up your models, your database. I'm gonna be doing that in the next video, but for now, let's just see what we have created so far. So the Python is telling me now that my server is now running, and then I can check it on this localhost link. So I'm just gonna follow the link, and as you can see, if you look at this, my Django project is now running. The install worked. The install worked. Congratulations. So, but now, you know, this is basically not what my something should be showing. Okay, so I basically want my Django to be showing my views, what I have just created. But if you go back to this project, like I said, if you go back to this project, everything that you do, you need to tell the parent, which is the project. So I created my views. I set up my views inside this app right now, and then I have my URLs pattern set up. This is where I want everybody to go by default, and then they can see. But if you go inside my project URL, which is the parent URLs for all other URLs inside this project, it knows nothing about my project, about my new app. If you look at the URL pattern set up there, it knows nothing. It only has for admin. So what I need to do now is to create my path inside the, you can see that I'm doing like the same thing, you know, because just because I just want to tell my project about the URL that I just set up in the app. So I'm just gonna say, okay, so now I'm gonna tell it that I have an app that I've just created, but I still maintain that I don't want it to go to anywhere. I just want it to be the landing page, like the index page. So I'm not gonna put any slash whatever, admin slash whatever. No, I'm just gonna say, remember, this is gonna take this is not gonna take 3 arguments like the app. On the app level, your path is gonna take 3 arguments inside the URLs, you know, path. Yeah, it's gonna take 3 arguments: your URL, your views, your name. Yeah, because in your project app you don't have views. Nobody's gonna view your project. They're only gonna view your app. So in the URL pattern, it takes only 2 arguments. As you can see, the argument for admin is different from your from all your apps. For the apps, it's just you're gonna import another thing here from URLs. You're gonna import include. Okay, so now you're just gonna say this include is actually going to include all the URLs. So what I'm just gonna say include the name of my app, because I just want you to know about my app. I'm just gonna say include, make sure it's gonna be in string, test app dot URLs. Okay, as you can see, what I'm referring to is that include test app.url. So as you can see, this is test app.url. So I'm using a dot notation to actually let it know about this. So what I'm just telling my project is that every URLs that is contained in this test app, please, this is going to be the path. So Django project would know exactly how to handle every URL visit that comes from the test app. So if I create another thing too, let's just say I created another another app called API, and then I'm gonna say API. So I can then now say it's gonna be API slash. So what I'm telling my project is that every URLs containing this API app must be routed this way. So this is where I'm setting the route, but now I can clean this up actually, because I've not set up the app. If I do run server like that, it's gonna give me error. So I can just click on save like this. With this one I have so far. So now that I've actually told my project about my app and I've instructed it how I want it to route every URLs that come from the app, I think Django now perfectly understands what I want. So if I refresh this, you see it's gonna show my whatever I set up in my project. I have now set up my first Django app because Django now knows about this app and it knows exactly how to handle the URL. So if I go inside my project URL, my test URL, and I views, and I change whatever I want this. Let's just say Django. Set up my first Django. I have set up my first app. I just say I have now set up my first app. Save. Okay, and then I go back to the views. I go back to the views and then I refresh. You see, I have now set up my first app. So ladies and gentlemen, that is how you can actually set up your first Django. My next video is just gonna be on how to set up your database, which uses the light SQL that comes with Django. Okay, thank you. Please subscribe to this channel. I'll see you soon.